everyone. We're going to get started. Sorry I was a little late today. So a couple of announcements. At the Blueberry Patch, 6-7 open mic, 6-11 open jam, 6-22 the band is called Leisure Chief, and every Saturday is a volunteer day at 11:11. June 8th, City of Imagination, every second Wednesday, local writers and reading from their own works. Keep St. Pete lit, lit space writing classes each weekend in June. And Blueberry Patch Literary Afternoon will be on hiatus for July. Okay. So, our topic today is Mark Twain. And I guess we came to a conclusion that we're going to start doing these big writers. And Mark Twain was the first of the big writers, I guess. Anyways, he was born Samuel Langhorne Clements in Florida, Missouri, and lived in Hannibal. And he was born there in 1835. And even as a child, Mark Twain had a passion for writing. He began writing as soon as he was able to hold a pencil. And it was all about experience. Huck Finn is essentially based upon his time in Hannibal. So how we're going to work this is whoever wants to come up and read when I stop, come and read. And do we have a set plan?
I've got some possibilities. I've got some quotes. I've got some stuff I can read. Everybody's invited to come up and share anything they'd like to about Mark Twain. We've got some books here. If anybody has a favorite, something they'd like to share, some it.
Okay. The other interesting thing about Twain is he was one of the first writers to actually make a living off of his writings. Created almost as a profession. And his lecture circuit action was apparently phenomenal. He was a great orator. So he was born shortly after the Halley's Comet thing. So there's always been suggestion that he was divinely created. And he suggested it. That's right. Anyway, so he was the sixth of 7 children. Born to fairly, I'd say, affluent, new Midwesterners. And so Hannibal's on the Mississippi River. And so what does he do? He begins to write about his experiences. And his early childhood writings, which there are none of, and we don't know what happened to them, and maybe he burned them, maybe he tossed them. Well, we don't know what the situation was. But we have some representations that his wife had saved. Anyways, he was just he was amazingly well-rounded and a creator of, like I said, the ability to live with a great deal of writing, live and make money off of it. And so I'm going to end it there and have somebody come up and do some quotes, if that's.
Hi, everybody. I was really pleased that we chose Mark Twain this time around because he was so prolific and so influential on every writer since then. And so many famous authors have commented on that fact, that he was an inspiration to them. And William Faulkner, for one, said Twain was the father of American literature. Ernest Hemingway stated all modern American literature came from one book by Mark Twain called Huckleberry Finn. All American writing comes from that. There was nothing before that, and nothing as good as since. You know, he was very well admired. George Bernard Shaw called him the American Voltaire. He was very outspoken politically as well as culturally, and was the first to write in the way that Americans spoke at the time, rather than the proper English that was prominent in England, or the more stuffy New England writers like Emerson and the like, Walt Whitman and such, who he didn't like, by the way, from what I understand. And I've got some fun quotes. He was very popular, as Ian mentioned, on his lecture circuits. That were they were lectures, but they were solo performances, so to speak, which was actually the forerunner of what is stand-up comedy today, in a way, because it was all meant to be humor and to have his audiences go away laughing. And his famous quotes just go on and on. If you go on the internet to look for a quote of his, it's just never ending. And they're all cute and all appropriate. And the one that we had on our little advertisement was, "The man who does not read good books has no advantage over the man who cannot read them." He was fascinated with science, as I'm sure Ian will get into a little bit later on. Science, technology, that always was something that he would throw into a lot of his books anyway, almost to the point of being fantasy at that time in that era. It says, "Something fascinating about science. One gets such wholesome returns of conjecture out of such trifling investment of fact. And I've never told the truth, but someone didn't call it a lie. And I've never told a lie that wasn't believed." You know, just really cute stuff. And I'd rather have my ignorance than another man's knowledge, because I've got so much more of it. And some of them are social commentary, political commentary. He would have a field day with the election year that we're having right now, because he had such a bitter tongue for politicians and everything. You can just imagine what he would do if he were here today to play with Trump and Hillary and Bernie. I think it would be hilarious. Yes, I can do some more quotes for you, or I can read you a little story, which is kind of cute. Actually, it reminded me of you, Barnaby. I can read that for you. Or maybe, do you feel like reading? Not today? Okay, it's just a short one. It's called The Fable. And it's small print, so bear with me. I have to follow the lines. This one actually I thought was a fun choice for our blueberry patch, because our founder of the Inktank, which was best friends with the founder of the blueberry patch,
a writer, and he wrote about Duck Cat, who was a longtime mascot of the Blueberry Patch. And he wrote about him. It's in our book there that we do have for sale. And so I thought this was a little cute. And it goes, once upon a time, an artist who painted a small, very beautiful picture placed it so that he could see it in the mirror. He said, this doubles the distance and softens it, and it is twice as lovely as it was before. The animals out in the woods heard of this through the house cat, who was greatly admired by them because he was so well learned. He was refined and civilized, so polite and high-bred, and could tell them so much which they didn't know of before and were not able to be aware of. Paraphrase that one. They were much excited about this new piece of gossip, and they asked questions so as to get at a full understanding of it. They asked what a picture was, and the cat explained. It's a flat thing, he said, wonderfully flat, marvelously flat, enchantingly flat and elegant, and so beautiful. This excited them to a frenzy, and they said they would give the world to see it. Then the bear asked, what is it that makes a picture beautiful? It is the look of it, said the cat. This filled them with admiration and uncertainty, and they were more excited than ever. Then the cow asked, what's a mirror? It's a hole in the wall, said the cat. You look in it, and there you see the picture, and it is so dainty and charming and ethereal and inspiring in its unimaginable beauty that your head turns round and round, and you almost swoon. The ass had not said anything as yet. He now began to throw doubts. He said there had never been anything as beautiful as this before, and probably wasn't now. He said that when it took a whole basket full of adjectives to whoop up a thing of beauty, it was time for suspicion. It was easy to see that these doubts were having an effect on the animals, so the cat went off offended. The subject was dropped for a couple of days, but in the meantime, curiosity was taking a fresh start, and there was a revival of interest. Then the animals assailed the ass for spoiling what could possibly have been a pleasure to them, on a mere suspicion that the picture was not beautiful, without any evidence that such was the case. The ass was not troubled. He was calm, and said there was one way to find out who was right, himself or the cat. He would go and look at the hole and come back and tell what he found. The animals felt relieved and grateful and asked him to go at once, which he did. But he did not know where he ought to stand. And so, through error, he stood between the picture and the mirror. The result was the picture had no chance and didn't show. He returned home and said, the cat lied. There was nothing in that hole but an ass. There wasn't a sign of a flat thing visible. It was a handsome ass and friendly, but just an ass, and nothing more. The elephant asked, did you see it good and clear? Were you close to it? I saw it good and clear. I was so close that I touched noses with it. This is very strange, said the elephant. The cat was always truthful before. As far as we could make out, let another witness try. Baloo, look in the hole and come and report. So the bear went. When he came back, he said, both the cat and the ass have lied. There's nothing in that hole but a bear. Great was the surprise and puzzlement of the animals. Each was anxious to make the test himself and get a straight truth. The elephant sent them one at a time. First the cow. She found nothing in the hole but a cow. The tiger found nothing in it but a tiger. The lion found nothing in it but a lion. The leopard found nothing in it but a leopard. The camel found a camel and nothing more. The Haith, what's the name of an animal, I'm not sure, was wroth and said he would have the truth if he had to go and fetch it himself. When he returned, he abused his whole subjectory for liars and was in an unpleasable fury at the moral and mental blindness of the cat. He said anybody but a nearsighted fool could see that there is nothing in that hole but an elephant. Moral by the cat. You can find in a text whatever you bring, if you will stand between it and the mirror of your imagination. You may not see your ears, but they will be there. So I just thought that was kind of cute. Thanks for listening.
Tijan, this dream's where you belong. Your golden journey now has just begun, with your mother's arms to hold.